Welcome to the Rimworld mod rundown. We'll be taking a quick look at what you can expect to see from Vanilla Races Expanded Fungoid. For starters, you'll need to own the Biotech DLC to make use of the Vanilla Races Expanded content, as well as the workshop content, Vanilla Expanded Framework, and Harmony. So what are fungoids? They may, or may not, be inspired by the last impression of a show that all of us enjoyed. An extremely rare race of fungal zombies that have some unique genetics you may want to try using in your own Frankenstein creations. The majority of what Fungoids adds is the new genes, so we'll quickly cover the event included and then get into the meat of the mod, or rather, the mushroom? The Fungoid ship crash is likely the only way you'll encounter fungoids in your run, unless you've specifically picked one for the start of your colony, which, spoiler alert, was a bad idea. The minor issue I have with the Fungoid crash is that it doesn't scale. This could land on day 1 or day 1000 of your colony, and it will always behave the same. A large chunk of rot-infested debris will land on your tile and spew out rot stink. If you attack the chunk, it will awaken the fungoids inside, who will attempt to attack your colonists. There are always between 1 and 3 fungoids in the ship. That's it. So if this is the first event that you're hit with as a tribal, it's actually quite dangerous. What's even better is that you can use it as an emergency weapon of your own by waking up the zombies if you're hit by a tricky raid. But if this lands and you're established with walls, armour, weapons, a few reasonably trained combatants, this event is likely to be a total freebie for you. The main threat from fungoids comes from a single setting the mod includes, gene infection chance, which by default is 20%. Any attack from a fungoid that causes bleeding, such as bites and scratches, has a chance to infect your colonists with a rapidly progressing infection that will eventually turn them into fungoids. Any other genes in their xenogene line are squashed into endogenes, and the entire xenogene is replaced by the fungoid type. This infection is extremely aggressive, and likely to require amputation to solve. So, fingers crossed it isn't applied to their torso, neck, or head. Since we're already kind of covering the genes, let's look at them properly. As with some of the other Vanilla Expanded series, milder or mirrored versions of these genes are included in the mod for you to make your own xenotypes. Deathless is the same as Vanilla Biotech. You need to destroy the brain to put these guys down for good. Just be aware that with the death on down chance, even if you don't hit these guys in the head, their brain may just explode anyway. If you want to ignore this mechanic, you can do so in the storyteller settings under custom options. This is likely to make your colony populations explode, however, with all of the potential prisoners and recruits. Mind Coalescence is a funky addition that shares mood between all colonists who carry this gene, meaning if you start to doom spiral with mental breaks, it'll happen really quickly. The gene infector is, without wanting to sound overly dramatic, entirely the reason you want to download this mod. As it passes the infection through unarmed attacks, you want to remember that this may be diluting or buffing the pawn's melee attack choices, which is why fungoids come in totally unarmed. They're more dangerous to you when they're biting and clawing, rather than hitting you with a stick. Rot blood is a surprisingly cruel melee defensive option, choking and potentially infecting attackers that wound the carrier with a lovely case of lung rot. Super immunity is what you'd have wanted before you got infected by the fungoids. Super clotting is amazing. Any wound that would cause the pawn to bleed is almost instantly tended. No more horrific blood loss from missing a finger or a toe, no more dying to 32 cuts from a man-hunting rat. Total anti-rot lungs does exactly what it says on the tin. You don't get a mood debuff, and you don't get any aspergillosis. Fungal flesh is a really cool little tweak that makes carriers consider eating mushrooms akin to cannibalism. Fungal regeneration is a scaling buff that starts at 150% injury healing and progresses over time to reach 500%. It takes 360 in-game days for the fungal genes to reach their maximum efficiency. This is 6 years on the rim. Bear in mind that super fast wound healing does 400% and activates immediately. Telepathy allows the pawns to fulfill their social need from any distance on the map, which works fantastically in a friendly colony, or, in the case of most Rimworld interactions, allows your pawn to comment about each other's leg hair from the safety of half a mile away. Good luck starting a social fight when you need to walk the entire map to throw the first punch. Cold and heat tolerances are both pretty standard. Fungal armour works in the same manner as scaling for fungal regeneration, starting at an incoming damage reduction of 85% and finishing at 65%. This can appear to stack with the trait Tough, meaning that a tough Fungoid will peak and only receive 32.5% damage because Tough applies first, armour second. Strong melee damage is a nice 50% boost to Fungoid's attacks, which is required as they're not using weapons, only tooth and claw. Sterile stops Fungoids from reproducing in any way besides the gene infector. Repulsive is entirely understandable given their appearance, smell, and, well, the dead nature of Fungoids. Other colonists aren't exactly happy with corpses shambling around in their quarters. For cosmetic genes, Fungoids have a crest, the gaunt head, and a dead voice, as well as permanent rose hair that doesn't grey with age. The final combination of genes are what make Fungoids something you don't want, as so far they've been pretty damn strong. Fungoids suffer from extreme skill loss, meaning their forgetting rate for skills is accelerated. Unlike standard pawns, which will never degrade a skill below level 10, Fungoids can forget skills entirely. Worst of all, they can never earn XP on skills and they have awful intellect. So what does this mean for a colonist that has been infected? Well, over time, they're simply going to become a mindless husk. Their construction will fail more often, they'll forget how to make fancy foods, their crafting will slip in quality, until eventually you've got them set to simply hauling clean. That's it. Worst of all, they're made for combat, but with their genes, their actual skill in combat is going to fall too. You'll send them in to lead the charge and they'll miss left and right and have to face tank every blow because they forgot how to dodge about a year or so ago. So what do you want them for? Maybe you don't want Fungoids as such. You want the gene infector on your own xenotypes. Custom xenotypes always suffer in Rimworld as the game doesn't generate them in other factions without other mods. This gene allows you to keep your colony just the way you want it by infecting all potential recruits. You could make your own race of super vampires, or combine it with another gene-based expansion to really mix and match some cool species. This is what the mod shines for. A single gene that allows for dozens of unique runs with your own custom Xenos. Now, with that in mind, what are you waiting for? Get out there, infect the world. Thanks for watching, folks. If you have any other mods you'd like to see a full breakdown for, or suggestions of mods you'd like to see covered, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I might get around to them. I'll be back again soon with another Rimworld mod rundown. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Take care.